Hey guys, this is SKR here back with another painting video, and today we're going to be painting this lovely shot taken in the Florida Everglades last year. And I'm going to be doing this painting with an acrylic base and doing some heavy oil highlights on top to give it that vibrancy we can see in the picture here. And I hope you guys enjoy the video, so sit back, relax and enjoy. Alright, so here's the equipment which I'll be using today. Now I'll be using my size 12 fan brush, size 10 filbert brush, size 10 bright brush. Now I'll also be using my size 2 fan brush for detailing the trees and foliage, and also be using my size 4 bright brush and size 0 round brush for further adding highlights and shadows to the foliage and trees as well. Now I'll of course be using the liner to add the finest details such as some twigs, branches, etc. Now the paints which I'll be using today are of course my usual burnt sienna, phthalo blue, yellow mid and naphtha scarlet. Now paired with this I'll be using my trusty acrylic white as well, and I'll be using a fair bit of gloss medium to thin out my paints and some retardant to slow the drying time. And I've got a water container and some paper towels set up here to add to the mix, and I've got a tripod which will be filling the palette the entire time as well. So let's get into it. So to start off, I'm gonna first of all wet my brush and then pick up a bit of acrylic white and start off with the area of the sky that's visible to us at the moment. So I'm just gonna add the acrylic white to that area. Now I'm going to thin the acrylic white down with water as well as a bit of gloss medium. Don't want it all being water, or otherwise the paint will be too thin and will be too watered down. And like so, just apply it with using a crisscross motion. And I'll try and cover a large portion as I can, so there's no light showing through, there's no white spaces showing through afterwards. So once I've done that, dip my brush in water and pick up a bit of the phthalo blue. Make sure it's not too dark, mix it in with a bit of acrylic white and you're good to go. So just apply that onto the canvas lightly. Don't want the phthalo blue being too strong here. And like so with a crisscross pattern, just keep blending it all in together. Now go over it a couple of times like this to make sure the paint's nice and blended in together as well. And now there's a couple of clouds visible as well, so pick up that naphtha scarlet and a bit of cadmium yellow, brush it in with the blue, and I'm going to add a bit of acrylic white onto the top to finish the sky off. For this I'm using a bit of a dabbing motion, so like just get a blob of paint and then just dab it onto the canvas like so. And make sure to mix it back into the blue in the background as well. Right, so that just about finishes off the sky, and now I'll put things in time-lapse mode. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so I've done all the background trees as well as started the reflections in the water as well. Added a base for them. Now I'm mixing up a mixture that will consist of the tree trunks in the background. So that's acrylic white, bit of natural scarlet, bit of burnt sienna and a bit of phthalo blue as well. Mostly burnt sienna. And now I added a lot of acrylic white as well and dip my brush in water to help transfer the paint easily. Now I'll paint some of the distant mangroves like so. So just nice and gentle touches at the bottom, only the base of the trees, and maybe part way up showing a couple of branches through the actual foliage. Now these two trees extend outwards and up this way as well, so just put this in lightly and they just disappear. Right, so once I've done that, I'll add some trees more trees along the shoreline like so. Make sure you're using the side of the brush like this and painting in indistinct lines like that. So once I've done that, I'm going to add a couple of highlights to the ones in the distance as well and get their reflections down. Now these two ones are actually quite strong, so they'll be visible in the reflections quite strongly as well. And same with this one here and this one here as well. So add a very strong reflection base and then continue the tree downwards like so. Right, I'll continue this in time-lapse mode and I'll see you guys soon. So what I've done here so far is I've basically done all of the background work and all of the work in acrylics, and now using oil paints I'm going to add some final highlights and some final touches to the focal point and trees towards the front of the picture. So I'm going to dip my brush in a bit of oil and pick up a bit of acrylic white, not acrylic white, sorry, titanium white, and then I'm going to apply it to the boat's rim. So where there's a white lining on the top of the boat basically, and also where there's sunlight hitting the boat at the top. So like so. Now I'm using a size 2 round bristle brush for this. You can use any brush you want as long as it's around this size and you're able to paint a relatively fine line with it. So I'll pick up a bit more oil and dilute the titanium white and add some more highlights on the boat as well. This is on the inside of the boat where the sun's shining in towards the middle, and there's a couple of white patches on the side of the boat as well, depicted in the white. Now for the reflection, the white line is obviously going to be broken up a bit more, considering the water's moving in different directions because of wind and current. So I'll just add a couple of white highlights here and there in the water. Not necessarily smooth, just jagged, small lines like so. Right, so once I've done that, I'm going to dilute the titanium white even a bit more with the oil, and then I'm going to add a couple more highlights in the water, just a couple of small lines, that's all. Just a couple of ripples like that in the foreground, they don't have to be massive. Now obviously they're more spaced apart in the foreground than they are in the background, so in the background it'll just be a patch of lines like that. And there might be one small ripple close to the riverbank, and we use that to depict where the bank is actually. And we'll call that the water line in this case. Same here. Alright, I'll put things in time-lapse mode and hope to see you guys soon. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Now the name of this painting is Drifting Away Through the Peaceful Mangroves. Now what I really did here is I brought out the red in the boat and the tree, which helps give it that vibrancy and contrast you can see there. Now you guys should also try and do that in your works, it'll really help it stand out. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my Instagram as well. And I hope to see some of you guys in my future videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.